prayer is that they meet the Lord. We pray for all those who do prison ministry. Father, that you anoint them and continue using them so that souls are rescued while in prison. And when they are released, they come back to the community as a blessing. Because when you take someone to prison and they come out as more hardcore. They are a more hardcore criminal. When that person comes out, is in fact harder in crime than when that person went in. Because that person meets other criminals while in prison. And they advise each other on how to wreak more havoc. They advise each other on how to wreak more havoc. Actually, they even conspire while in prison how to defeat the prosecution in court. They conspire while in prison there. One time, I was in a court session. I had gone to rescue a driver who was involved in a fight. He was beaten up and instead falsely accused that he's the one who caused the trouble. So I had gone to rescue him. I had gone to get for him a court bail. So while there, I listened to another case. And the thieves had advised a fellow thief on what to say before the magistrate. This particular thief had robbed from his mother. He took the mother's lorry to Ferry Chaco and was supposed to pay. He didn't pay a coin and stayed with the lorry. Using it, didn't service it. So the brothers had to go and pick it by force from him. He had spoiled it and he hadn't paid a coin. So cheating his own mother. And thereafter, one evening, he goes to his mother's home and kicks the door. Goes in arrogantly and tries to cause havoc again in the house. And the brothers grab him, beat him up, and call the local authorities, and he's arrested. Now when he goes to prison, his fellow criminals tell him that, you narrate a story. So I was seated in court waiting for the turn of my person had come to rescue to come. And the man rises up. They read for him the case. The prosecution reads the case. And the magistrate asks him whether he did it. And he says, yes, I did it. And the moment he admits, then you, the prosecution, you have nothing more to say. So the state prosecutor just sat down. And the magistrate said, why did you do all that havoc to your mother? You took the car, used it, didn't service or repair it, you didn't pay her a coin. Came to her house, kicked the door, went in, fought with your brothers, broke the TV set, and you even broke the cord of the telephone set. And the man said, your worship, let me explain to you what transpired. I would like first to apologize to my mother to forgive me. Now let me explain what transpired. When I took the truck, the people I worked with to Ferry Chaco cheated me. They have never paid me to date. But when they pay me, I will pay my mother. Now, I was still wondering what to do to take back the truck, and then my brothers came and picked it. So one evening I gathered the courage to go and meet her to explain. When I got there, they were watching TV. They couldn't hear. So I knocked very hard. I didn't kick the door. He's telling lies. He has been given a text. He's telling lies. The mother tried to rise up because she saw that the state prosecutor was saying nothing more. She tried to rise up to speak, and the magistrate said, no, sit down. The man has pleaded guilty, so there's nothing more from your side. She was hurting as this man is telling lies. So he continued with his lie and said, look, when they opened for me and I got in, I started narrating, but they couldn't listen. And they started beating me up. And then they picked the phone to call our elder brother who doesn't love me at all. So if he would come, he would just finish me off. So I grabbed the phone to say, no, don't call him. Now, when I grabbed the phone, they all came and grabbed me. And I fell down. I fell on the TV set and it broke. And as in the process of falling, because I was holding the receiver, the cord of the phone broke. And the magistrate believed. And the man was given a very light fine having fleeced his mother and even gone to the house and destroyed assets within. The mother couldn't believe it. And that situation, because of the few times that I have been in court, I have realized that the courts are not for us who are not criminals. Sort out your problems outside, don't go to court. Try to resolve everything amicably out of court. It's better. The criminals know how to play their game. But when someone is arrested and they meet Christ, fellow criminals will not intoxicate this person further. So continue interceding for those in prison. If they are arrested innocently, that they are released. Those who have gone in when they are criminals, that they also meet the Lord and they are changed in Jesus' name. So that's what happened to Onesimus. He met the Lord while in prison and he came out a good man. He walked boldly with the epistle from Paul to Philemon and delivered it to him. Otherwise, he would try again to disappear knowing that there is more trouble coming. But he had encountered the Lord and became a better person. So whoever your tormentor is, if they encounter the Lord, they will become a better person. But now, we'd like to look at something else. What did Absalom do to his father, David? 2 Samuel chapter 15. In the course of time, Absalom provided himself with a chariot and horses, and with 50 men to run ahead of him. He would get up early and stand by the side of the road leading to the city gate. Whenever anyone came with a complaint to be placed before the king for a decision, Absalom would call out, "What town are you from?" He would answer, "Your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel." Then Absalom would say to him, "Look, your claims are valid and proper, but there's no representative of the king to hear you." And Absalom would add, "If only I were appointed judge in the land, then everyone who has a complaint or case would come to me, and I would see that they receive justice." Can you imagine? He's conspiring against his father. His father is a king. And Absalom is conspiring. People in your very household can conspire against you. And that conspiracy causes great wounds in your heart. Great wounds, deep cuts. You need healing. But like Stephen was healed by forgiving, our prayer is that you receive the mercy and grace from the Lord to forgive those who are hurting you. And our prayer is that you yourself, you encounter the Lord and be changed. But also your tormentors to encounter the Lord so that they are changed. See what Absalom is doing to his father David. He's conspiring against his father. In verse 7, 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 7, at the end of 4 years, Absalom said to the king, well, let's start from verse 6. Absalom behaved in this way toward all Israelites who came to the king asking for justice, and so he stole the hearts of the people of Israel. Can you imagine? He stole the hearts of the people of Israel from their king. Maybe it's your employee and he steals the hearts of your customers and resigns and goes with them. Can you imagine? Maybe it's your good friend turns up in your home and steals the heart of your spouse and goes away with your spouse. Maybe it's a neighbor steals the hearts of your children and turns them from the proper destiny you were shaping them for, takes them to the wrong direction. Maybe their peers influence them and change them. Those things cause wounds in your heart. But the Lord is able to heal you and rescue you from the trouble that they have caused you. So Absalom stole the hearts of the people. Verse 7, at the end of 4 years, Absalom said to the king, let me go to Hebron and fulfill a vow I made to the Lord while your servant was living in Geshur in Aram. I made this vow. If the Lord takes me back to Jerusalem, I will worship the Lord in Hebron. The king said to him, go in peace. So he went to Hebron. Can you imagine? He's continuing in evil. He's telling his father a lie. Yet he's going to cause a rebellion. Then Absalom, verse 10, then Absalom sent messengers throughout the tribes of Israel to say, as soon as you hear the sound of the trumpets, then say, Absalom is king in Hebron. 200 men from Jerusalem had accompanied Absalom. They had been invited as guests and went quite innocently, knowing nothing about the matter. While Absalom was offering sacrifices, he also sent for Phel, the Gilonite, David's counselor, to come from Gilo, his hometown. And so the conspiracy gained strength, and Absalom's following kept on increasing. Verse 13, a messenger came and told David, the hearts of the people of Israel are with Absalom. Then David said to his officials who were with him in Jerusalem, come, we must flee, or none of us will escape from Absalom. We must leave immediately, or he will move quickly to overtake us and bring ruin on us, and put the city to the sword. So they planned how to run out. Verse 16, the king set out with his entire household following him, but he left 10 concubines to take care of the palace. So the king set out with all the people following him, and they halted at the edge of the city. Now, this man is causing his father to flee from his own household. I have seen such evil where children can plot to remove their parents from the properties. The children who believe their grandfathers have lived for so long they should die so that they can inherit the land. Can you imagine? Such evil is happening even today. It happened even earlier. Absalom was plotting to have his father out of power and out of the palace. This was terrible. Can you imagine? This boy did not only do this, he did much worse. He went ahead to even pitch a tent on the top of the palace where people could see him publicly. And he had sexual intercourse with his father's concubines. Your son is sending you out, and is even taking over your spouse or concubine, whichever title that person you are with is. Can you imagine? A terrible abomination. And he did it in public. It was a terrible reproach. So your kinsman can bring a great reproach upon you, causing great wounds in your heart. It is terrible if a spouse is taken away from you. Worse when it is your son, when it is your child. The wounds are just too much. This is what David had. But I would like to tell you, when your focus is on the Lord, then you are able to forgive those who are hurting you. David did. He instructed his soldiers not to hurt Absalom. If you look at 2 Samuel chapter 16, you will see that David instructs in verse 15. Meanwhile, Absalom and all